Okay, so for this first example on skill DD12, we are talking about a square piece of confetti that is 10 millimeters long, okay? And when there's not a picture to look at, you kind of have to envision a picture, or if you're using a scratch piece of paper, you can just sketch a rectangle or a square, depending on what they're talking about. So if each side of the square piece of confetti is 10 millimeters long, then what is true about the other sides? If it's a square, they're all 10, right? So they're all 10. So in this case, all you have to do is simply take 10 times 4, and that would give you your answer of 40. Okay, so 40 millimeters. So that answer would be 40. Let me skip ahead here. Okay, and I'm probably going to end up going back as well. So a map of the world has a perimeter of 10 feet. Its area is 6 square feet. What are the dimensions of the map? So what are the measurements of the map? So it is, these are all talking about rectangles or squares. So if the perimeter is 10 and the area is 6, we know that the area is length times width. Okay. So 6 is our area. So what times what is going to give us 6? Anybody? Well, we could say 1 times 6 is 6. So if that's the case, 1 by 6, that would give us an area of 6, but would that give us a perimeter of 10? No, that would give us a perimeter of 14. So that's not going to work, okay? That's not going to work. How else can I make 6 if I multiply a length and a width? 3 times 2. So I could say 3 times 2. So that means my dimensions would be 3 feet by 2 feet. This stylus is not the best. 3 feet by 2 feet. That gives us an area of 6. Okay, so that works. All right. And the perimeter would be 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, or 3 plus 2 doubled, or times 2. And that would give us 10. Okay. So that one is correct. So it has to have dimensions of, has to have dimensions of 3 and 2 in order for that to work. Okay. Let's do another one like that. A rectangular piece of plastic has an area of 20 square millimeters and a perimeter of 24. So we know that the area is length times width. So if the area is 20, what could be the length and the width? The length and the width could be 4 and 5. Okay, but would that give me a perimeter of 24? Perimeter is 2 times the length plus the width. That would give me a perimeter of 18. That's not going to work. Okay, so I have to think of something else. So how else can I get the area of 20? What other ways, what other numbers can I multiply to make 20? How about 2 and 10?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try that. So if my area is 20, then I could have a rectangle that was 2 by 10, okay, that's going to give me an area of 20. Would that give me a perimeter of 24 to plus 10? So 2 times 2 plus 10. 2 plus 10 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. So that would work. So we would have 2, that looks like a Z, 2 and 10, okay, as our dimensions. This side has to be 10 and this side has to be 2. So that checks out to be 24 all the way around. And if we were finding the area, it would be 20. Okay, so that one would work. So my dimensions would be 2 and 10. Okay, 2 and 10. All right, I'm going to do one more. And I'm going to go back a little ways because there is another example on here that I want to look at. Okay, here we go. The perimeter of a rectangular cutting board is 50 inches. It's 16 inches long. So how wide is it? Okay, so this is kind of hard to picture. So again, I like to draw in a rectangle. And I know that its perimeter is going to be 50. So all the way around here is going to add up to 50 inches. And I know that it's 16 inches long, which means the other side of that rectangular cutting board also has to be what? If this side is 16, then this side is also 16. Okay. So now we know that two sides together add up to 32. So 16 and 16 is 32. Okay, how do we figure out these two sides here? We know that they need to be the same amount. They're the same length or width. But how do we figure that out? Well, if we know that the perimeter is 50, we can take 50 minus 32, and that is going to give us 18. Okay, so that leaves 18 inches to be split up amongst these two sides. This side and this side together have to add up to 18. Well, they're the same length. So what plus what equals 18? Or you could say 18 divided by 2, and that is going to give you the dimension of the other side, which would be 9. Okay, so these two sides have to be 9. So when you get a question like this, you kind of have to piece together what you know already to figure out the rest. And so if I did a quick check here, 16 plus 9 is 25. So 16 plus 9 is another 25. And that would give me my total perimeter. Okay. So those ones can be a little bit tricky. And you would put 9 in there. Okay. You don't want to put 18 in there because they're just asking you for the dimension of one side. Okay. Let's see. This one should be pretty self-explanatory. A square cabin. Okay. Anytime it says a square, we know that all four sides are congruent. Is 10 feet long. So what's the area of the cabin? Area is length times width. So if it's a square, this side also is 10, and 10 times 10 is going to give us 100. Okay. All right. So that is your IXL skill for today. It can get a little bit confusing. You are allowed to use a calculator. Okay. So that's it. And I just wanted to go over a couple examples for you today. All right. Email me with any questions.